So I've gotten a lot of inspiration from this pot this year. I'm not talking marijuana. I'm talking about this pot with this particular growth in it. So I'm going to go back to middle of June of this year. I had some leftover pansies. And so I grabbed this pot and I put the pansies in this pot. But there wasn't enough soil, so I went around scrounging and gathering soil from other places, pots that were just sitting empty with some soil in them. I put them in here and then I put pansies in. And the community is you've seen this. There were pansies growing in this pot, just pansies, for a number of weeks. And then at a certain point, I noticed 2 sprouts starting to grow with the pansies. And I thought, fantastic, these are probably sunflowers coming. And I was so happy about that because the sunflower bed that I planted this year, I put in hundreds of sunflower seeds, and only 3 of them came up. And so the causes and conditions, you'll have to help me with this, Venerable Semke, weren't there for some reason for these seeds to sprout. And there's all kinds of things that could have happened. But there were sunflower plants growing all over the rest of the garden in the places that weren't designated the sunflower bed. So I was pretty disturbed about that. I was unhappy about the sunflower bed. So I let these 2, I thought, sunflower plants keep growing. And they grew at a tremendous pace. And then we had an extreme bout of hot weather, and then we couldn't water anything. And so the sweet little pansies in this pot didn't make it. But these 2 plants here really took off, and eventually I was told that they're not sunflowers. Well, I knew that eventually, but that they're amaranth plants. And then most recently, there's a little bit of grass growing in here. And so what has inspired me with this whole project of this pot with plants is that it's a great analogy for me to look at and think, wow, this is about 8 inches of soil, and there were seeds in there that I didn't know about. No idea that there were amaranth seeds in there. And then when I reflect on my mind, which, it goes back beginninglessly, there are endless numbers of seeds, and I don't know what's waiting to sprout. I just don't know. And I thought, wow, I'm really being impacted by this visual analogy. I thought, wow, I'm really getting somewhere this year. However, now I'm going to do a true confession. So I thought I was being impacted by it. I was intellectually. And I was really thinking that this was really going to boost my renunciation to get out of samsara. So now I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. I think it was in July, I shared a story with the community about a woman in Alberta who, early 20s, she was struck by lightning. And I think she survived this. So at that point, I sent around to the whole community tips about what to do during a storm and what not to do. And here I am sending this information out like a good former elementary school teacher. You should not go out when you hear thunder. So let's fast forward now to the night of September 21st. I had a very good motivation. There was a tremendous lightning and thunderstorm going on with a lot of rain. And we determined that it would be better for someone to go and get a car and bring Venerable Sangye Kadro back to her cabin. So I volunteered. I headed out into the dark without a flashlight, of course. And I was heading to go and get the car. And as I was running through the trees during this lightning storm with thunder going very rapidly after the lightning, I thought to myself, this probably isn't a great idea. Here I am doing what I told everyone in the community not to do. And so I thought, I know, I'll just be wise here. I'll cut through Chenrezig Hall, which is what I did. So I went through there. I was inside, went to Ananda, got my jacket, came back, parked the car in front of the lower entrance of the Buddha Hall, and I left the car lights on. Well, I didn't know that the car lights would go off. So I went and grabbed Venerable Sangye Kadro to take her to the car. It was raining like crazy, thunder and lightning, and I ended up tripping over a parking concrete block, and I broke my nose and my arm. So the reason I'm telling you this story is not to get your sympathy and say, oh, poor Samson. The reason I'm telling you this is that I created the causes and conditions for many things. Some of it was created in past lives, but many of those conditions were created by myself that night. So actually, breaking my wrist and my nose, you can't really say lucky if you're a Buddhist, but the causes and conditions for me not to be struck by lightning and killed that night weren't in place. The causes and conditions for me to break my nose and my wrist, the causes and conditions came together. So the deeper learning that I've had, not just from the visual of this pot, but just thinking, do I really believe what I think I'm saying and thinking? Is it really impacting me here? And I see honestly that I have way more work to do. So again, for my sake and for yours, I want to read a little bit more about what to do when you hear thunder and when you see lightning. And so if it's just for my sake, then just rejoice, but it may save some lives if you're watching this video and you think like me, it's not going to happen to me. I'm just running quickly. This is exactly where lightning strikes happen. And I will say this, and this is a very sad story. The week before I did this, two young men, two 25-year-olds in Colorado, were out hunting. A lightning storm began with thunder. They were heading back to their car. They were struck by lightning and both of them died. They were on their way. They knew they were in trouble. They were getting back to their car. Okay, so here's something to think about. Understanding the dangers of lightning is important, so you know what to do if a thunderstorm threatens. If you hear thunder, even a distant rumble or a crackling aloft, you are already in danger of becoming a lightning victim. Too many people wait far too long to get to a safe place when thunderstorms approach. Unfortunately, these delayed actions lead to many lightning deaths and injuries. Lightning can strike more than 10 miles from a thunderstorm, well ahead of rain, or well after the rain has ended. In fact, many lightning fatalities occur in areas where it's not raining. So summertime activities like fishing, boating, camping, going to the beach contribute to about 2/3 of the lightning fatalities, with the remainder related to work or routine daily activities. So the best way to protect yourself from lightning is to plan ahead so that you can avoid the lightning threat. You don't want to be caught outside in a thunderstorm because there's no safe place outside in a thunderstorm. Hello, Samton. Here are some guidelines that will help you to keep safe. Have a lightning safety plan. So, that night we could have all decided in the Posada room, you know what? There's a vicious storm going on. We could have waited 30 minutes or however long it took for the storm to go over and say, let's just sit and meditate and do something beneficial with our minds and dedicate this to the ending of the wars in the world. We could have done that. Know where you'll go for safety, blah, blah, blah. Check the weather forecast before heading out. If thunderstorms are predicted, consider canceling or postponing the activities. This is for offering service people. And for people who like to walk. Monitor the weather. React quickly to changing weather conditions. Remain inside for 30 minutes after the last rumble of thunder. After the last rumble of thunder. So I hope this information is helpful. I'm really hoping it helps this particular mind. I'm really getting it. And the other day I did say to Venerable Children, I'm really sick of this. I'm sick of this cast. It's been on for 16 days. Could you take it off? It's going to need to be on for 6 weeks. Well, what I should have said to Venerable Children was, you know what, Venerable Children? I'm really sick of samsara. I know she's helping me get out of here. I should have said that. The cast, no big deal. Samsara, it's a big deal. And so let's do what we can to take advantage of this precious human life that we have, to pay attention to common sense guidelines, and to help each other when there's a storm, and do what we can, to really preserve what we have left in this life, and to keep saying to Venerable Children, I'm sick of this. Can you help me get out of here? And we'll help each other as well, becoming wiser and kinder people.